COVID case. They just got exposed today. But
okay.
It's not a good look. Not a good look for this country. The internet doesn't work. The road doesn't work. Don't get me started.
Which country again? New Zealand.
New Zealand, third world banana republic.
I thought they were hobbits running around as well, haven't you? You've got those hobbits running around.
Yeah, they have those woke hobbits. We're live, by the way.
I know. I can see.
Yeah, I know. I came in at behavioural problems.
See, I said. Right, okay, gents. Good afternoon, everybody. We're doing a today. Hope today we find you all well. A little bit of a stressful start with Cockney Spock being let down with his technology. I'm wearing some new glasses and I can't see a fucking word, so that's a good start. Yes, how is everybody? How are we doing?
All right.
All right. DemonScythe, how are you?
Can't complain.
How's the yogurt?
Oh, it was good. Unfortunately, I did spill a bit on my trousers, and now it looks like I came early.
Oh dear. Mega Geek, how are you?
I'm all right. I'm sitting here in my pajamas.
Oh, good man.
Oh,
well done. I made a concerted effort to get out of my pajamas.
Oh, did you?
They get a bit sweaty, if you know what I mean.
I just got up, so.
Lazy bastard.
Sunday, isn't it? I look out the window and it's bloody snowing.
It's snowing here as well. It's I feel the urge to go and grab my hat and snow speeder and run into the garden.
Well, for some people,
say those immortal words, don't you? You have to say, what is it? I thought they smelled bad on the outside. That's what you say when you run out in the snow, don't you?
For most people, we're still living the longest weekend in history. So, yeah. And last but not least, New Zealand's hurricane, cyclone, whatever you want to call him, Cockney.
Yeah,
you're all right.
Something. Yeah, I'll get over it, I suppose. If the internet holds out, we'll be fine.
How's the stress levels? Are you trembling?
Just amateurs, isn't it? Amateurs. I've been on the phone to the internet company for months. It's slow at the best of times. Now it's like a bit of cloud, and that's it. It's completely cocked up. It's just how can you get anything done with no infrastructure? It's ridiculous. There's no joke coming. Sorry if you're expecting a punchline.
Oh, no, don't they always say the cloud is the next step in the technological evolution? What a load of bollocks that is.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people go, oh, you should. Why don't you get Amazon Plus if you want to watch the Expanse? Because there's no internet. That's why. I'm lucky I can do broadcasts.
You need to move, mate. Move back to Blighty.
I do. No, I'm trying to move house because this is like that. It's nice living in the back of beyond if you want to write a book, but it's no good if you want to, communicate with people. I am actually trying to sell up. So, any hippies with a lot of money, buy my house. I'm trying to get out of here.
Which, yes, kind of leads nicely into what we're talking about today. Books and writing and things I know nothing about.
Writing. Well, neither does J.J. Abrams or Ryan Johnson. Never stopped them, did it?
Oh, he's back.
Are you feeling a little bit better now, Cockney?
Oh, just going to channel it into cattiness.
Have you got your tea? Have you got your splosh?
I've got my cup of splosh right here. Spot on.
Yeah. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Cockney, go.
That's all I mean. Well, writing.
I said I know nothing about this.
Yeah, no, you're right. Well, the thing is, I did have a starting thought, which is the good news and the bad news is that if you can craft a story without any plot holes, then you're doing better than a lot of the writers in Hollywood. But then by the same token, clearly they don't care. Otherwise, the people with plot holes, not mentioning any names, Ruin Johnson, wouldn't be getting jobs, would they? So it's a double-edged sword. If you can convince someone that you've written a script and a good, well-written script is superior to a badly written script with plot holes, then you could that's your way in, isn't it?
Okay. I'll just go through the panel and just ask your writing experience, and then you guys can just, talk amongst yourselves, as it were. So, DemonScythe, writing experience for the people at home. What is
my,
it?
My writing experience, other than GCSE English, was
Same here.
was doing my A-level project on video games or video game controllers, and then when I was at uni, my degree thesis, which was on video game production.
Yes, because you have you studied for that, did you not?
Yeah, well, yeah, animation and digital.
Yeah, you have a
art,
bit of a background, don't you, with that?
Yeah, and after that, it's just I don't really think I've ever sat down and written anything particularly long, apart from like one over descriptive email, maybe once in a while. But yeah, the reason that just spurred me on to actually write something, which was the atrocity of The Last Jedi, and me complaining about it, like, you know, as a knee jerk reaction to the
Not the only one.
To the horrendous thing that I just witnessed, and so many people saying to me, well, let's see you do better then. I'm like, well, do you realize how long it takes to write something like that? Oh, you're just moaning. You're a misogynist. Yeah. So I just went, all right then. So because I knew I could do better straight away. You know, most people could. And while I was in my job at the time, it was like a quiet day, and I was just sitting there with a book, noting all these things down that just flooded into me. All these points, all these plot ideas, character ideas, places, names, everything. It just started as soon as I opened my mind. That was it. It was almost like the universe speaking through me, and I just flooded it all down in this book. So about that, 2 hours went by, and I thought, shit, I've actually got something here. And I looked it up. I sort of planned it all out, and just the basic, you know, elements of this person goes there, and this person goes there, and this does this, and this does that, and this place is this, and stuff, you know, and then it ends up here. And I thought, well, that was relatively easy. The only plot holes I can see is if, like, I encounter anything along the way and don't tackle them when I encounter them. Why is it so difficult for these twats in Hollywood not to be able to do this? You know?
Amen.
And then I realised, oh right, yeah, it's all done by committee now. And presided over by some witch-like matriarch who says what can and cannot be done.
Nice drop.
Everything has to be done to appease a certain individual
or group.
Yeah. Oh, Lord Darth Kennedy, please, can you approve this piece of writing for me? I don't like this. You've got a white male in the lead role. I can't have that. No. Where's all the brown-haired, brown-eyed women?
Does she sound like Kenneth Williams?
I always thought she would. You just put an American accent on that. It's not that far
She
away.
does in bed.
Yeah, start messing in there.
Oh no! We can't allow this. Oh no! But you know, I just thought, well, surely it can't be that hard to do it. The universe is already set up for you. You know, all the characters, places, everything is you've got this play box to sort of sit in and go, right, all we need to do now
should be easy.
There's no other material according to her.
Yeah, I know. Well, she said that after the fact, right? So to try and sort of defend the fact that her movies are shit. Oh no, we don't have any material. Well, yeah,
no books, no comics, no expanded universe.
So okay, we kind of get you're not kind of saying anything that's not been said a million times before with that stuff. So
but he's saying it in different order with a different voice. Come on,
yeah.
Are these things bear repeating?
He's playing all the right notes in the wrong order.
In the wrong order, yeah. But that's the only like experience I've got.
Yeah. So where are you at now? So how many months? Sorry, what was that? Sorry.
About 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
it's
what's
trying
your
to fit that
story
around
about?
regular job and stuff. Trying to fit that around regular life.
Life.
Yeah. Sorry, what was the other question?
So, what is the story about for the folks at home who didn't quite catch it?
It's that's a good question. No one's ever asked me that. They've just said, "Oh, is it Star Wars?" And that's it. That's as far as it goes.
Well,
they never
it must have a plot or something that's going on.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's very difficult. Like with Star Wars, it's very difficult to describe what you're writing without ruining it, because there's so many kind of twists and segues.
You said you're effectively rewriting.
That is essentially,
Jedi.
That's right.
Okay.
The Last Jedi and the following movie, because the story's kind of, it was just supposed to be one part, but it's because of the stuff you've got to cover in it. It's kind of expanded to cover both, if you know what I mean. So,
are you going to rename your episode 9 "The Jedi After the Last Jedi"? I think they should have gone with that.
10
That's
minutes.
just me, though.
10 minutes. Okay, so effectively, you're trying to undo the damage, or kind of come in before the damage was done and do your take.
Yeah, that's right. It was very easy to do. It was very easy to undo it. I've done it within like the first few pages, and then I've just gone off on my own tangent with a completely different story.
Okay, and at what stage are you at now with that?
I'm in the last act.
And
it's
closing,
which is about 85 to 90% done.
Nice.
Right, so we're nearly there, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's right.
And
fingers crossed.
Is it good?
I've given it to
No,
a
it
couple
isn't.
of people. No, it's absolute garbage. I wish I hadn't started it.
No, it's a serious question. I think is a good writer is able to realize when no egos or anything. Yeah, exactly.
And I've gone through plenty of stages when I've thought, oh God, no, I don't like this. Oh shit. Oh no. What if everyone thinks this is shit? That kind of self-doubt thing. But I just go back and I think, well, if this is causing me to have doubt, then let's just go in and alter it a bit to make it something I like. So I've done that.
Have you thrown pages away metaphorically?
Yeah, but very few, to be honest with you. Only when I've gone back and changed something and thought, oh well, now this bit doesn't make sense, and the only way I can correct it is if I throw that bit out and just rewrite it, which is one of those things you have to do. You have to backpedal sometimes. But I've given it to a few people to sample up to a certain point, and they've loved it. So it can't be bad.
But are they saying they loved it to protect your feelings?
That's the problem. You see, you can never tell. You can never ever tell.
Right.
One of them is quite an objective person, so I think I can.
I know.
I've got an answer for that one. Give your script to someone you don't like. Oh, it's like find an ex-girlfriend that you broke up with badly. Give her the script, and then if she grudgingly goes, "That's not as bad as I thought,"
send it to Colin Trevorrow.
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if he's still salty. Anyway.
Now, okay, so we either have the Mega Geek or Cockney Spock. So who do I choose next?
Mega Geek. Give him a chance.
You don't mind? Yeah, because we don't know much about you, Cockney. So, Mega Geek, your writing experience, my friend, for the folks at home.
Okay. So I started off as a graphics artist, as I said before. Used to do graphics titles for TV in the old days, which was over 20 years ago, actually longer when I think about it. And then I decided to make a feature film, and that was my first venture into writing a screenplay, because I've never written a novel or a...
What was the name of the film for the peeps at home?
It was called The Killing Zone. That was the first. Actually, no, that's not true. I wrote a short called The Interrogation, which was an experiment to see whether the Killing Zone would work. So I shot a short called The Killing Zone, which cost £1,000 to make, and it was shot in 2 days. So basically the idea was we wanted to make a feature film. We didn't have enough money, so the idea is to shoot 3 shorts stuck together, which will equal 90 minutes. So so when you think about it, it only cost us $3,000, but that didn't happen because making a feature film is a different type of animal when you make a short.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote this short called The Interrogation, which The Killing Zone had 3 stories in it, and one of the stories was called The Interrogation. And if the short worked, then we would try and go ahead to make the rest of the other stories connected to the feature film. So that was my first venture into writing a screenplay, and I was very much influenced by Tarantino at the time. Because Tarantino had a huge hit with Reservoir Dogs, and I saw that and I thought, wow, well, if he can write something like that, which was very basic, I can do something like that. And I noticed that he just went for shock horror more so, and he went for a lot of talking. So I decided, okay, well, I'll write something with a lot of talking as well, but I won't go for shock horror. I'll go for twists instead.
Okay.
I wrote The Killing Zone, and then after that I wrote I wrote Interrogation. I wrote The Killing Zone, which was the full screenplay, which was I don't know if you guys notice this as writers, is that when you write your first screenplay and you look back at it, you realize how much spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes that was in. Oh, God. You just look back and you go, what the
Yeah, my issue there is whenever because I do like artwork and stuff as well, and I've done a bit of comic artwork, and whenever I've done a comic strip, I've started off doing it in a certain way, and by the time I get to the end of it, must because you've practiced, your skill is like so much better at the end than it is at the start, and you think, oh god, no, this looks terrible. And it's the same when you're writing. You go back and read your earlier stuff right when you first sat down, and you think, what was I thinking? Right, putting this word here. What on earth? You know, it's the same thing. Yeah.
But you know, the thing that I've learned about screenplay writing, which is okay, so there's two types of screenplay writers, as you guys, I'm assuming you guys know, either an architect or a gardener.
Cockney does.
Yeah, and I am a gardener basically. So when I write, basically, I know I've never went to film school. I never learned how to write screenplays. I just could
you explain the terms for the uninitiated?
So architect is someone that thinks about the plot, and they map out the plot, and they map out from the beginning to the middle to the end a 3 or 5 structure of a screenplay, and then they write according to those rules. But a gardener just plants flowers anywhere he thinks he should plant it. Okay, yeah. And that's the way I write. So because I never learned how to do it properly, what I did is I just picked up a computer and started writing off my head, just like if you're an actor and the teacher says to you, right, go in the middle of the stage and I want you to improvise, you know, just basically
on the hoof.
You and another actor, and the teacher will go, right,
much like this show.
Yeah, well, exactly. Right, your boyfriend, you're the girlfriend, she's just cheating on you, go. And then you just make it up as you go. But then what you realize is when you make it up as you go along, you suddenly go left and right. You know, it's unpredictable, and that's great for a screenplay. Yeah. And so when I write, that's what I normally do. I don't think about where it's going. I just start from the beginning, keep going until the ending, and then you can go back and refine it, and then make sure that the plot holes are filled. And if something doesn't work, you can manipulate it to work for that sequence. And then you go back and and then you look, see whether see if it's paced right and stuff like that. So in my history, I've written The Killing Zone, I've written Bad Day, I co-wrote Fallen Angels, I wrote Rebecca Gold. Do you know what I mean? So I've just learned to kind of get better, I guess.
And are you writing anything at present?
I am. As you guys know.
I wonder what that could be.
Yeah, exactly.
For the folks at home, would you like to divulge, or is that just top secret?
No, it's not top secret. Basically, a lot of people are against me doing this. Gary told me not to do it.
This channel is not against you doing
this. I'm just saying.
For you.
Well, the thing is, though, it's going to be. Look, I'm writing a Doctor Who fan film, only because a lot of people have asked me to do it. And so, you know what it's like when people ask you to do stuff, right? Whether they will help you in the long run or follow you in the long run is another matter. They can open their mouths at that moment in time, but whether
wise observation, yes.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do
18 minutes.
I'm going to make a trailer and then see how that goes. And if it's favorable, then I will do the fan film.
Okay. Well, we truly hope you have the best of luck with that, mate. We truly do.
Quite frankly, I don't care.
Well, you do, though, because if you didn't care, you wouldn't be doing it.
No. Listen.
So on some level, you do care. On some
really.
level,
you guys must know this, right? You could, especially what's his name? Matt. Sorry, is it Matt?
Yeah, it is,
Matt.
Especially you, Swap Shop. When you're doing work, when you're working for a living, like I do lots of corporate videos and stuff like that. And if you're creative, you feel like you need to create, and you get that itch. Where look, just get
scratch it.
Where I can do something creative, and this is I'm getting.
Nothing
so
worse than
whether it be Doctor Who, whether it be Rebecca Gold 2, I don't know. You need to scratch it, mate. That's the thing. So, and quite frankly, if I don't make the Doctor Who fan film, I'll make something else.
It's like something creative is waiting to be born, isn't it? And you're denying its birth. It's got to be out there. You've got to, and you're kind of facilitate its journey from the concept stage to actually being in people's hands. And it's kind of, this idea is there. It's got a really good potential. But what an injustice if you don't help it. I think that's the feeling I get.
I know exactly how that feels. Doomcock.
I know Spielberg said that it's the whispers that you have to listen to carefully rather than the loud banging thing saying you can't do it. You have
Right.
to listen to the whispers in your head. And he's right, because unfortunately for me, I think it's like a sickness. My whispers is getting louder and
20
louder
minutes.
the more I ignore it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, right.
God, he's good, isn't he?
He is. He knows his stuff.
He
These boys know what
is.
they're doing.
He knows his onions, that boy.
Oh, there could be a bit of good Doctor Who dialogue coming there.
yeah, I guess.
He knows his onions. Right. Okay. So cheers for that, Ian. Here we go. This is going to be good. Cockney. Cockney, come out to play.
So Warriors, I'm so lucky. The patience.
You are lucky, mate. You are lucky.
Well, because you guys have brought up some excellent talking points, and in fact, just what you said there, Mega Geek, about the people that you can basically give you advice. You can do this massive chunk of a script, and then you're done, and you go, so what do you think? They go, oh no, I changed my mind. So be wary of advice givers, small or big. In fact, Neil Gaiman, one of the best bits of advice ever, he gave it as writing advice, but I think it applies to life, is basically, I advise you to ignore all advice because it's mainly given by people with no actual stake in the outcome, even if it is well-meaning. So
but he's giving advice, so he's contradicting himself straight away.
Beautiful art one. That's what I thought made him a genius. How ironic. He was
A paradox.
A paradox wrapped up in an irony, wrapped up in a bit of hypocrisy.
Please do not read. Yeah. Please do not read this sign.
But exactly, and further to that, and if that wasn't enough, he also then had a little bit of a Twitter spat with him, shock horror, and he gave me some unwarranted advice. I thought the guy that wisely advised me to never take advice, not only advised me to take advice, but now gave me advice as well on my right. No, he didn't. He came back for more, but he kept giving me more advice. It's like, there's a guy I know called you that said, don't give advice or take it even. So quite funny. Layers of irony. I think he must have been ironic trolling from a genius writer.
Well, where did you hear
probably
that then? Was it on one of his podcast thingies?
Nicely asked. It was specifically, I've tried searching. It was the Guardian, guardian.co.uk, did 23 bits of advice from 15 writers or something like that. So the last time I looked for it, I managed to find it, but that's what it was. So Neil Gaiman was amongst other writers, but that was the one that stuck out. So advice can be good, but you don't know until you do it. So the general thing is, I think, just follow your instinct, which ties into Swap Shop's original point, which is if you just create, I think of all the creative things, like, design, you can add your own thing, but basically writing, I wouldn't like to be a writer, a hired writer, because for me, it's coming in you. You're just like, I'm channeling this, I've got to write it down. I don't just sit there going, oh, I'd like to do a screenplay. It just jumps into my head, and whether it's from your subconscious or the ether, the universe, the voices in your head, that's almost a faith thing where the ideas come from. But I do agree they come to you. The script is born, not made. You just got to go with it.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, totally agree.
So have you got any work, any books and stuff?
My published Uber is 2 letters in the Guardian and 1 in the Metro.
Letters.
Letters and 1 in Creative Review. Do you want your money back?
Jesus,
Cockney,
Creative Review.
I thought you had 3 novels under you. Yeah, but fuck all publishing the way of fiction, unless you count 1 of the Guardian letters.
So, Cockney, if you publish anything, then
nothing at all.
Okay,
yep, sorry. Yeah,
so why are you on here?
Exactly, because I fooled you all. I said writer. I didn't say published writer. Not only am I not published, I haven't finished my story either. But luckily, I'm an architect. So it's not. I haven't chronologically unfinished it. It's just the middle bit, the bit at the first third, and the third quarter bit. Oh, they're difficult. But yeah, and actually, so yeah, jumping onto that, architect versus gardener. Just very good that it's been brought up. Nice one, Mega Geek, because I think that is a central question for any aspiring writer or experienced writer for that, is whether you're going to go the architect or the gardener route. And my personal answer to it, well, personally, I'm more of an architect, but further to that, it's non-binary. If you don't have any gardening flexibility, I mean, even an architect might, I'm doing a Doric column, but I think it should be Corinthian. If you don't have some flexibility, and equally, if you're a complete gardener, Well, you're George R. Martin, aren't you? Oh, I've got myself into a corner. I'm just going to play with.
Is he ever going to finish that?
No.
Take
Gary 3. It's been 9 years. It's 10 now, isn't it? It's going to be 10 years this year.
It's going to be like
it's
his unfinished symphony, isn't it? Someone else will come in and have to finish it for him.
Yeah.
Exactly. He can't finish himself off.
So. Thing is, though, he doesn't have to.
Never had that problem.
He doesn't.
No, he doesn't now. No.
He's got the money.
The man's got the money. He's made a mark on the world. He's probably just happy just to carry on doing nothing and die. That's probably
exactly.
You know.
He's got his train set. He's got.
Can he just not get somebody else to? Can he just not get somebody else to do it for him?
You'd think, wouldn't you?
You know, it's like he doesn't want to fall into the trap that George Lucas fell into, does he? Give his stuff away and then get somebody else to, destroy it.
Lucas should have
just. Lucas should have just got somebody in to do it for him.
Lucas claims to be an architect, but he's a gardener. You only have to watch 4, 5, and 6, and 1, 2, and 3 to see what a gardener he is.
Uphill gardener.
I think he's in. Do you know what? I think he's in between. Because if he's really great with the business side. Look how successful his special effects company is. Look how successful he's been business side wise. But when it comes to actually creating and concept wise, he doesn't really have the skills for that. What I actually believe is that you with those kind of skills, you're born with it. Yes, it's like, for instance, you can teach someone to use a camera. And that's the DSLR camera, and they can use it to a certain degree. But if they don't have the talent to know what a good photograph is, or the actual talent to know about composing a shot, you know what I mean? That comes naturally from someone. Then basically they're just someone that uses a camera. And I think George Lucas is the person when it comes to creating. He's just the man that uses the camera. But when it comes to actually setting up the camera, he's brilliant at it. That's what I think.
Sorry, I was just going to say quickly. Yeah, the reason why his original movies were so great, which is where he really sort of made his mark with the writing, is the fact that he had so many other people tempering his ideas, and it was a team effort to formulate everything into this cohesive story. So it wasn't just him alone, So it was like lightning in a bottle with this incredible, perfect storm of creatives. Yeah, Kurtz, exactly. Yeah. And with Kurtz's absence, you can really notice it, can't you? And and I think if Martin, like you said, George Lucas, he could have easily brought in Filoni or someone, a team of people he trusted to carry the story forward, with him being executive producer and just, poking his nose in every so often saying, no, okay, just steer it this way and change this, make sure it doesn't go too far from his vision. He didn't need to sell it and give it, and put Kathleen Kennedy in charge. That was a ridiculous step that he took, I think.
Just going back to the Gary Kurtz point, do you think by Lucas sacking Kurtz effectively?
He didn't sack him.
I thought Kurtz left of his own belief.
Was it creative differences?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. He became religious, and he left. That's what I heard.
Do you think that was probably, looking back, that was probably the end of good Star Wars? No,
it wasn't, because George Lucas' concept was it was a good concept. He copied a lot of stuff from Flash Gordon to right across the board. He copied a lot of stuff, right? But it was like, look, for instance, Star Wars was written by 2 other people and him, and then Empire Strikes Back, which was probably one of the best out of the 3, right? He didn't direct it; he produced it, and the writers came in, and another director came in. Do you know what I mean? So you can see what's happening here. Yeah, you can see he's not a very good director. He tried his best on Star Wars. He's a good architect. He's a good businessman. That's what
he's an ideas man, isn't he?
Yeah, leave the artistic stuff to the people that have that kind of talent. You know what I mean?
I think because if we were doing like a regular, Nooner about Star Wars, we could go down this route. But I think from a writing perspective, let's just say broadly speaking, it might have been written by, or it doesn't matter even who wrote it, but just looking at the script.
Hello?
Has his teeth fallen out, or has he lost his connection?
He's lost his connection.
Just dropped.
But you know what? I'll just carry on a bit. When it comes to writing, when you're writing, especially a screenplay, and when you're shooting stuff, things change again. So the screenplay is just a platform, or the platform to build upon So a lot of people don't realize that. There's a lot of directors out there that want people to say, the actors to say it word by word, which is on the script, and just follow the script verbatim. But the best kind of stuff that happens on screen is the mistakes and the improvisation and stuff like that. That's what brings it to life. I don't know what you think, Matt.
Yeah, same thing, mate. I mean, when I watched, as a kid, you don't really notice it, but as an adult, going back and watching, say, the original, A New Hope, you can see how much of it's ad-libbed.
Yeah.
And it makes so much. It adds so much to it. This is such an organic, natural air to it, and like the original Alien movie as well. When they're all sitting around chatting, it's like there's no way that's hard scripted. There's just
why that is, don't you? You know why that is, don't you? Now, there's a rumor that Ridley Scott didn't know how to direct actors, so he just let them. Because Ridley Scott, at that moment in time, he was a commercial director. He directed a lot of commercials, and everybody knows that directors that direct commercials, they are very much the side of making everything look beautiful. They have 30 seconds to tell a story, but they have all the equipment in the world. They have all the toys. So they can spend a whole week on a 30-second commercial. That's why they look so good. But then when you're in a situation where you have to make a feature film within 2 months, or a feature film within 2 weeks, which I've done, you have to think on your feet, and that's where the magic happens.
Right. Improvisation.
Didn't Rutger Hauer totally improvise the
I heard that
speech at the end?
I heard that. If that's true, then that's phenomenal, isn't it?
I'm sure it was just totally improvised, made up on the spot.
You see, that's the thing. With actors don't realize that, because I've dealt with a lot of actors in my time, and when you push them and you put them in a corner, and you say, "Look, you have to do this, this, and this," they get really nervous and they start complaining and moaning. But then when they're pushed, they suddenly come out with stuff that is great, like the
iconic that was.
Yeah, like the speech in Jaws from Robert Shaw.
Yeah.
Are you back, Cockney?
I am, so I don't know what I've missed, and I'm going to be out of sync with the conversation, but at least I'm back.
We've just been basically talking solid 10 minutes of Blade Runner, and we've just finished, mate.
Yeah, we've come to the conclusion that he's real. He isn't a replicant.
And you're a twat, and you don't know what you're on about.
Quick question, you see. The question is, why are you even asking? What's it to you? What are you, replicant racist? Doesn't matter what he is. Kill all Blade Runners is the answer. It doesn't matter. The answer is it doesn't matter. Why are you asking?
I saw your tweet, Cockney. I saw your tweet, and I saw Robert Burnett's tweet back. He's human. Yeah.
No, he likes it. Let's go there. Blade Runner.
They're having a loving at the moment. They're having a loving.
Clearly. No, that was good though. Yeah, he has, just to be absolutely clear, I can't deny reality for people's points. He is a human in the book, but that's maybe one of the things we'll touch upon. Because my general point is, if you're writing a book and it gets made into a screenplay, then it's two different things. It's inevitably going to differ. And like Game of Thrones, Lady Stoneheart is another example. Whether it's massive canonical differences or tiny differences, you just might as well picture it as a different universe. So
a lot of people don't realize that screenplays, as I said, is just a platform to actually create. It is a good shooting off platform to create. When you're on set and when you're directing, when things like, take for instance Spielberg, right? They gave him the novel of Jaws. He looked at it and he was like, this isn't going to be a family entertainment at all. So he changed the concept of Jaws as when you look at the movie, it's it's not completely different, but it is very different from the novel. And then at the ending, when they were making it up, how are we going to destroy the shark? They had the can and they said, it goes in the mouth and he shoots it. And then everybody was saying on set, that won't happen. If you shoot at that thing, that's not going to blow up. And Spielberg said, I don't care. We just want it to blow up. You know what I mean? And that's how that was born, So, and that can apply to writing as well. When you're writing and you're creating, then you find.
Yes, I'm making a cup of tea.
That's all right.
Are you down the pool again?
Then you'll find that things happen, and when things happen, they're either good or bad. Mostly they're good if you're writing just off the cuff. Do you know what I mean?
Tell you what, from a medium is the message point of view, Marshall McLuhan reference at almost 35. I think controversial to some, novels are bollocks. just a flash in the pan, they're over. Don't bother with novels. All that prose bollocks in Lord of the Rings. Oh, the tree glistened in the wind like something of a metaphor. Oh, boring. It's a tree. Get on with it. I want to see how the tree got shot in, not shot as in bang, bang, but you know what I mean? I think that's growing up on comics. It's for me, it's comics and films. I think prose novels, highly overrated.
I've got to agree with Mr. Spock there. That's the approach I've taken right in this. Is I've tried not to linger on over descriptive moments. You know, I've just tried to sort of get to the action so people can just get their teeth into it and move on. You know.
Have you ever
Tree
read
there, bloke there, bird there, gun there, chat, bang, bang, kiss, kiss.
Like, for instance, if you read Chinatown, if you read Chinatown, it's very descriptive, and if you read a script of today, people have learnt now that every description's only 3 lines, then dialogue 3 lines, or 4 lines, then dialogue.
Well, that's it.
So whoever's reading it can speed through it faster because and then get it. So the trick is to write a description so you immediately get what the writer is talking about, and it immediately puts an image in your head at speed. And that's right.
It's all about the flow, isn't it? All about sort of keeping a motion going, you know, keeping a momentum. One thing I've noticed, I'm going back and reading a paragraph when I've tried to describe something, and it feels really awkward. I've put too many words in, and you just try to be a bit more economical, and you just flow through it so much quicker. And it's like,
give an example of that. I'll give an example in the screenplay, Pulp Fiction, and that's how I learned by reading Tarantino stuff. He said that John Travolta's character gets out a roll of money that can choke a donkey. And that's a shortcut. So do you know what I mean? So that says it all, doesn't it? A roll of money that can choke a donkey, which means
I must say, sometimes it's those little bonuses you get in the script. It's like little jokes that can't translate to the screen. But if anyone bothering to buy and read the screenplay, just another random one in With Nail and I, which is a favourite film of mine. But I liked it so much, got the screenplay, and instead of cafe, it just goes Wanker's Cafe. Tickled me, stuck with me, and here I am mentioning it now.
I do like Shane Black screenplays as well, because I read a couple of Shane Black screenplays, and I read the Lethal Weapon, which is very different from the movie.
Not the Predator.
And then when he took on the guy at the ending, when he literally broke his bones, whatever, and it said he stands there staring at him. He's a legend. It said in brackets. Do you know what I mean? So I like his screenplays because they're very entertaining. They're incredibly entertaining.
Speaking of screenplays, quickly, actually, I read because I hated Prometheus when it came out, right? Because I had such high hopes for it with the team that was involved and Scott directing and all sorts, And I thought, and I'd seen all the leaked photos from the trailer and all, I thought, wow, it's like they've made it sort of look all retro future again and stuff, And I was getting really excited about it. And I had a mate who was just as much of a fan, and we were kind of feeding off each other and getting really hyped. And then when the film got released, I went to see it on my birthday, and I got about like 8 mates to come with me. And I was saying, no, trust me, this is going to be great. And we saw the midnight showing, and it was the night before my birthday, and we all came out of the cinema and we were all like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I was so gutted and crestfallen afterwards. But a couple of years later, I found online the screenplay that I can't remember what it's called now. Alien Engineers, I think it was called. And I read it through. It takes about 2 hours to read it all the way through. And I was just, why the hell didn't they film this? It was so much better, so incredibly much better. And it was very economical with the way, I've never read a screenplay before. And that was the first time I'd ever read it. It was very economical with the way it described everything and it moved the story along. And I was just glued from beginning to end. And I thought, that was amazing. And there was hardly any real description in there. Most of it was in my head, but I could totally get it. And the fact that they could enable me to paint so much of the picture myself was incredible. I really appreciated that. So I've kind of tried to get that into what I'm doing as well.
Yeah, it's as I said, if you read screenplays of the 70s, very, very descriptive. And if you read the screenplays, because they said in the old days, they said if they don't get you in 30 pages, then we're dropping the screenplay. We're not reading anymore. Right. And then it went from 10 pages, and now it's 5 pages.
Oh, yeah.
So you know what I mean? So you've really got to draw the reader in 3 pages or 5 pages now.
Yeah, that's what I do when I write. I just think, like, am I losing people here? Am I going to be losing people with what I'm writing here? And then I'll go back and sort of alter it and make it a bit more economical, because I'm just constantly aware that people are going to look at it, pick it up, just go throw it on the coffee table, and then carry on with watching whatever on TV. I want to try and keep people's attention and keep dropping little nuggets of intrigue here and there. Just to, I forgot about that. I need to keep
early in my writing career, because like if you look at The Killing Zone, it starts off with people talking, but then there's a huge punchline before the credits, and the same thing with Bad Day, and the same thing with Rebecca Gold. It all starts off with something where you go, huh? And then the story starts.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? So I learned that a long time ago, that if you don't have a huge star in your film, they're not going to wait to hang around if they're watching your film in a theater. So all you have to do is you have to grab them from the very second. Like, for instance, if you look at Seven, the way Seven starts, it's very slow, isn't it? It starts off with Morgan Freeman in his kitchen washing up. You know, there's no credits.
Like
it just fades up from black. And he's
washing up here. Just
he's washing his cup in his thing. And he's changing his clothes and he's doing his tie up and stuff like that. That goes on for, I think, less than a minute. And then it starts and it's still slow. Do you know what I mean? So in the old days, if you had a big star in it, you could afford to do something like, if you don't have any stars in your movie, or if you're writing a screenplay that you don't have any stars, you know you got to get them within the first 5 minutes or even less, you know?
Segue on 40. It's a same film but a different topic. But it's a
40-40.
Segue on 40-40. In Seven, and there's one other film as well, American Beauty. There's two films where they have in both those films. There's deleted scenes, and yet if the deleted scenes were reinserted into the film, they would change everything.
Yes.
So forget about different versions, director's cuts, adoptions, novels. Just the deleted scenes in those two films. So they basically. So I had to think to myself, right? Deleted scenes are canon. So when I'm writing, if something gets cut out, if it's going to be, filmed and left on the DVD or Blu-ray or 4K or whatever, I don't know, it might be an obscure question, but yeah, if anyone's got the Blu-ray or whatever to Seven, to deleted scene, spoiler alert, he comes out of retirement at the end, changes the ending of the film completely.
Yeah. Same thing with Bourne Identity at the ending. What's his name? The bad guy who eventually, in the third film, we realize he's the bad guy. He actually offers him
Matt
a job.
Damon?
No, what's the guy's name? Very, very famous British actor. He was in it.
Nigel Hawthorne?
No.
Alec Guinness?
No, who in Bourne Identity? Who's the guy?
No idea.
That was the boss. Matt, do you know?
Not seen them. I've only kind of seen clips of them.
Me either. The Bourne what?
Bourne Identity.
I know the guy you mean. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, because at the ending, the outtake is the bit that they didn't use in the film is that he comes and sees him and he offers him a job so that the adventures will go on. But they took that out. If they kept that in, the sequels would have been very, very different. He wouldn't have been chased. He would have been part of that organization. So I think Cockney Spock is right. There are certain things, that would change the story erratically. So.
Be careful with those extras.
I was just going to say, sorry. What were the deleted scenes on American Beauty?
It was that the two. Now let me see. They're basically spoiler alert. Kevin Spacey buys the farm in the end, right? He pops his clogs. His son and his girlfriend get done for the murder.
Yeah.
Long time ago. Yeah, which totally changes everything. But it works, and so I'm sitting there watching this go. That's a real twist. And I'm thinking, did that happen? And I got really into that whole basic central premise of fiction, suspension of disbelief. I was really sitting there wondering, did that happen in the film? And hence bring it up now because it stuck with me. They didn't clarify. I guess it's implied that it didn't happen because they deleted it. But yes, on the disc, it did happen. So they went to prison, changes everything.
But I read the screenplay. It starts off with
bloody hell, I forgot the sugar. Sorry.
What's his name? Kevin Spacey's character flying in the sky, looking down at his home.
Yeah,
that's like Cockney. That is on the morning.
How dare you?
Or after one of these streams.
Yeah.
I wish.
But it just goes to show, as I keep saying, that the screenplay is always the platform from starting off, especially if you're going to shoot the film. You should never follow the screenplay verbatim. You should always give room for creativity when it comes to actors.
Little bit of gardening.
No thanks, Cockney. No thanks.
I love being on a live stream with Cockney. It's like ASMR in a truck stop cafe, isn't it?
It is. Every stream I have done with Cockney, I would be disappointed if he didn't have the tea
time
noise.
Management. I'm always doing something. That's me tin chocolates. Now let's see what we got in the tin. the tin of chocolates, which has got written on the lid, "The adventure begins." See, everything's themed to writing. Let me see what we've got here. Flake, 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 and one Reese's piece.
Cockney, what are you writing at the moment? You keep threatening to write stuff.
Blade Runner stuff.
My obituary.
You're right, your obituary.
His epitaph.
Well, exactly. I'll have to look that up now. Is that like a Roman version of an obituary? Eli's Cockney.
Come on, 45 minutes.
Including this. Yeah, well, it's now expanded into a nine unfinished movies. All right, the basic premise. Well, there's no copyrights if I say it. It could be whatever. It was called the Amnesia Room, and then I thought the whole thing's going to be called the Book of Infinity. And well,
go on a bit.
It's unfinished, but this is it's developed enough that you can ask yourself central questions. So, for example, what genre is it? I'd say it's somewhere around magic realism. So it's with a bit of science fiction. So it's set in the modern world. But then even that's a thing. I've written to Burnett, started a whole discussion about the difference between a historical piece and a period piece, which I won't go into now unless you want me to. But basically, if you write anything, whether it's James Bond or Doctor Who, although Doctor Who's another angle because he's a time traveller, but anywho, if you write something in the present day, be aware it's not always going to be the present day. So what you've actually written is a future period piece, or what will be a period piece in the future. It'll be in the past and the future because it's in the present now. Know what I mean?
Bloody hell, you've lost me there. That's one thing that I love about.
I know what you mean.
It's there on the rewind.
That's one thing I love about writing the Star Wars thing is like it's totally out of space and time with anything that we relate to. It's like millions of years ago, in a completely different world environment, whatever. It doesn't relate at all, other than the fact that there's humans in it. So it kind of gives you so much freedom to do that.
I remember when I was in school and we saw Empire Strikes Back, and everybody at school was saying Darth Vader's lying. I came to the conclusion that Darth Vader was lying, that he wasn't basically his father and he was trying to trick him. And I remember me and my friends at lunchtime, we sat down and we actually thought of a story to actually continue from Empire Strikes Back, and that story is completely different to what they came up with. We didn't have another Death Star in it. We had another design of a space station, but it looked nothing like the Death Star. It wasn't.
So that's better. I prefer it already.
Star Killer Base, perhaps.
Yeah, we had some kind. It was
that's
like
bigger
design, and then Darth Vader ended up not being Luke Skywalker's father, and he tried to trick it.
Double twist. Like I like it.
So, I mean, all of us were just sitting at the table. We were writing all these stories down, and we were shocked. I think it was 2 years later or a year later when Return of the Jedi came. We were shocked how simple.
I like yours better already. I like yours better already. Not having another Death Star, brilliant.
No teddy bears.
Mistakes. No teddy bear. Well, we did. Did you have teddy bear? But
not at all.
But the double twist. He's not your father. I like that. But that goes back to, and I'm sorry for there's going to be a repeat because obviously that's when I got cut off. But that's what I was going to with Star Wars. Let's forget about the who wrote it, whether it was George or Marshall or whatever. But broadly speaking, let's say that. The Star Wars, or A New Hope as it's now called, is a solid, self-contained, fantastic story. And I think The Empire Strikes Back, they got lucky because it ended up being as good or better. It certainly wasn't just Star Wars 2. But I think already in hindsight, the cracks were starting to show because let's face it, why is Luke giving his sister a tongue sandwich? If they knew that they were going to be... And I think that the Darth Vader...
Well, I would have, to be fair.
And this is... I've waited so many years to say thank you, Mr. Brown, for giving me this opportunity. I think the Darth Vader...
And that's where we end the show, ladies and
gentlemen. Blue ball again! I'll get you, Mr. Brown. I'll get you.
Go on, mate. Sorry, I'm fucking with you.
I
hate you, Butler.
I think the twist is so good because I don't think Lucas was expecting it. I think when Ben Kenobi is talking to Luke Skywalker in Star Wars or A New Hope Episode 4, I don't think that's what George was thinking.
No, he wasn't.
And that's why it's such a good twist because I think somewhere between 77 and 1980, or whenever he would have finished writing it, that I think it's a natural kind of shock. And there's other things like, for example, the whole thing with Han Solo, the whole Cloud City thing, the carbonite, the I love you, I know, which of course was spontaneous, not in the script. That was arguably because Harrison Ford had not signed up for Return of the Jedi. And so Harrison Ford, basically being a dick, in this case, made the film because they had to write it in such... And apparently one of the questions brought up in a very learned Star Wars study called the Family Guy Star Wars version, something dark side. They're going at the end. Why is Lando wearing Han's clothes?
Yeah.
I only since found out the idea is, I've not heard it from George Lucas himself, but the idea was if Ford didn't come back, Lando was going to be basically the replacement for Han Solo. It's like, oh, that's why he's wearing his clothes. That's the message, that he could have replaced Han if Ford didn't come back, but then he did.
I see. But in recent years, I always looked at it because I looked at the toys and I looked at the character designs and whatever. I just obsessed over it as a kid, and I just thought, well, maybe they all just dress like that. If they're, there's certain types of people all just shop at the same place. They've all got like the same. They've all got the same shirts on.
Star Wars Millets. Millets.
Luke jacket on Dagobah is the same as Han Solo's on Bespin. They're just a different color, and I just thought, oh, okay, maybe they're just really limited with choice in this galaxy.
Have you guys not noticed as well with Star Wars that George Lucas, as I said, he's a great businessman. Every film had a special effect that never been done before, or have been done, but done in a great way. Like Star Wars, the whole of the film had never been done before. The special effects, the way it was done,
it was all about pushing it and doing something new, wasn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Then in Empire Strikes Back, it was the walkers. That has never been seen, but it's absolutely brilliant scene. And then in the third one was the flying bike things in the forest.
Oh, God, incredible.
But with these new ones, they had nothing that was jaw dropping.
No, it just goes to show, isn't it? They're creatively bankrupt. They can't innovate like he can. They just can't do it.
Yeah, as I said, he's a great businessman. Definitely, he's not a very good director, as far as I can see. But he's a great businessman, and he knows exactly what concepts should work, and he knows how to push the boundaries.
He's great. You're absolutely right. He's a great ideas man. The spark of ideas coming from him is just unlike anyone I've ever encountered. And the thing that really amazes me with Star Wars, probably above all else, is something that a lot of people overlook, is the fact that the scenarios that take place are all extremely limited. They're all encompassed to certain environments, and they're all very visually distinctive. So each film's got like 3 major environments, and you can regard each movie on the identity of those environments. So you think the third movie, you think, oh, forest. You think the second movie, you think snow. You think the first movie, you think space. Or sand,
sand.
And it's a very distinctive instant identity for each film. They've completely lost that. Well, the prequels lost that as well, to be honest with you. They were kind of all over the place.
It's all Coruscant and
which is one thing I heavily criticise them for. But the Disney trilogy, they haven't even got a clue. They're just copying what's come before, and they don't.
I hate these ideas that Hollywood. Sorry, I hate these ideas that Hollywood embrace. Like, for instance, it's so obvious. Like, if you have a main character that's really successful and he's getting a lot older in real life, let's introduce his son. I hate that idea. I hate it. It's the same thing they did with this as well. They one of the reasons why they wanted to introduce new people is because of their ages, and it's like bollocks. Who cares how old they are? That film should have had the 3 in it in an adventure. Then towards the ending, they introduce Ray or Finn or whatever towards the end. But they deserved an adventure all of their own, because that's what the fans wanted, and it makes
one movie.
But they didn't do that. It's because of ageism, in my opinion.
It's Kathleen Kennedy again saying, "Oh no, we want to court the younger audience. They're not going to want to watch older people on screen."
Missed opportunity.
Little girls can't identify with Luke Skywalker, even though the majority of female fans identified with Luke Skywalker growing up.
The majority of people that will go to see Star Wars at that moment in time is people like us that's seen the old Star Wars more so than the new people. That is your audience. That's
the ones little girls with no money.
They're going to see it repeatedly. They're going to buy the merchandise repeatedly. They're going to watch it repeatedly over and over and over. They're going to want it re-released. They're going to keep spending money on that film if they love it. And this is what they can't see. They're so short-sighted that they think, "Oh, we'll just keep churning out new stuff."
They saw it, but what they wanted to do was introduce this stupid feminine agenda politics crap in there. They saw it, but they wanted to eliminate it. That's how horrible these people are, and insidious as well. This has, as I said, I suspect there was a think tank 50, maybe 30 years ago, and now it's just coming into being right now.
Speaking of which,
right now.
So you were saying, what's my story about? Well, let me tell you.
We went off a bit there.
That's good, but that's such a cliche. Oh, I thought we were talking about my unfinished story. If that's not the worst.
Well, come on then, get on with it.
All right.
Stop. Just tell us, mate. Just tell us.
Oh, I'm trying to give you a bit of foreplay.
Fighting talk there.
Straight.
Fighting talk from Mega
Straight
Geek.
into the penetration. Okay, here's the gimmick. I mean, it's also arguable whether every story needs a gimmick, and of course, by using the word gimmick, I'm playing it down. But here's my gimmick, because I've got a real opinion on time travel. My story's got a time travel.
Timey-wimey.
Yep, timey-wimey, but it's stuck on
55.
one setting. On 55, it's got a time
Going
machine.
backwards in your case.
No, it's stuck on one
55.
setting. The present moment.
Wow.
But it's not going back in time, is it?
No, it doesn't go back or forwards. It's a time machine stuck on the present moment.
Ah, okay.
Is it relative?
I'm waiting for someone to say, well, it's not much of a time machine then,
No,
is it?
no, I was going to wait for you to say it.
All right.
Is it relative to what's going on today?
No, well, what it is I've worked out the time machines. Sorry, I was too busy waiting to talk again. Time machines actually do two things, or some of them do. They don't just take you back in time or forwards, but the ones that take you back in time, they also create another timeline. So this one doesn't take you back in time, but it does create another timeline. Aha!
I think that's been done before.
As it fuck citation needed. If it hasn't, I've never heard of it. Well, that's, do you know what? That's, I don't know if it has, but let's say you're right. One of the most gratifying and simultaneously annoying things is when I come up with a completely original idea and then someone else
has done it before,
or has done it. But then I'm satisfied that even though everyone else will think I've copied it, I haven't. I thought of it, so at least it's a good idea. So I think, like, genuinely, well done me for coming up with an original idea that's been done. Not original, but it's not going to look good because no one's going to believe me.
I think you should just do exactly what, even if the idea has been done before you, there's always your way of doing it. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Well said, my friend. Exactly that. So even if it has, which I'm not aware that it has, but of course I've not read every single book and watched every single film. But if you know citation needed, let me know. I'll find who it is, destroy every copy of it, and then mine will be the only one.
Well, just like the Fantastic Four. Remember when that film came out? It was never seen. You remember that?
Well, no one saw it. It still hasn't been seen.
Was that the 90s version?
Yeah, no, that was the Roger Corman version. Fantastic.
Isn't that now known as the best one because all the subsequent ones were so shy?
I don't know.
I've heard that it's all that. Given I've not seen any of them, but I heard that the Roger Corman one was like the cheesiest with the lowest budget, but the other ones were so crap that it's apparently the least crap one. But as I said, I've seen none of them, so that's just what I heard through my research. Constant obsession with other people's films.
Yeah. As I said, I don't know. Screenplays are they're not hard if you just keep writing and reach the end.
Well, I find
is taking it and then creating it and then shaping it into something that works.
Is doing it basically.
Yeah,
and
doing it.
another point to touch upon that both of you writers, I know you're still here, Mr. Brown, but you know,
I am.
Writer, are you? Is basically self-editing. I find self-editing easy and almost the funnest part because when you're writing, it's almost like you're writing for yourself, and it's almost binary for me. There's bits that I like. I'm like, this is amazing. I must have been channeling. This can't be me. And there's other bits that are like, this is crap. It needs editing. But it just they both extremes stick out like the proverbial sore thumb. So I find first drafts are difficult but necessary. Second drafts are big fun because you're reading a script of an amazing film, and then anything that you don't like, you're allowed to change it because you wrote it. So, but second drafts are fun.
If you come to the conclusion that not everyone's going to like it, and if you come to the conclusion that I don't care, it's what I like, then you're fine.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
because you can obsess about second guessing. And this is where another one, because both George Lucas and Rian Johnson have been a bit of a through line in this conversation. That infamous chat between Rian Johnson and Mark Hamill, which Mark Hamill then told the public about, when he's like, you've got to think about the fans, and Saru and Around going, no, I've got to think about myself and my big ego, or whatever he said. And that really did my head in, because I'm like, I don't do either. I just think, what is the best? I thought about it for a couple of months. I don't think about the fans or me. I just think the story.
It depends what you're writing, Cockney Spock. If you're writing something that has an IP and that has history, of course you've got to think of the fan. But you've also got to find the balance as well, right?
Well, this is where devil's advocate. I do agree. I don't agree with Gary telling you not to do it, but I agree with Gary. For me, like I wouldn't probably. Well, no, I wouldn't never say never, but I generally shy away from writing existing IPs for that reason. But obviously, you two are doing it, so there must be something to it. I'm in the minority here.
It's not that. It's basically I'm going to do it. But if there's a demand for it, I'll do it, right, just for fun. I don't plan to, carry on making stuff. It's just the one, and that's it. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it depends on your trailer. Have you done the trailer yet?
Exactly. I'm shooting in April. So
1 hour.
Yeah. So basically, as I'm saying,
trailer question on the hour.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, basically, right? I will do it because I have space to do it, and I have a bit of money to do it, and it'll be fun. That's all. But I have no intention of literally keep making them. Just do the one for fun, and then because who else? It's hard enough trying to have fun, especially in today's world. So you've got to find fun where you can find it. Do you know what I mean?
We're having fun here, aren't we?
That's what I'm saying. You look.
Daddy just a T-bird away.
Matt, are you still alive? Matt, you still alive? Are you still there, mate?
I'm listening.
If Matt wants to write, his own version of Star Wars, yes, he realized that he can't sell it. Yes, he realized he doesn't own the IP, but he's doing it for himself and the people that are interested in what he's doing. That's all. That's all you can do. And if you find fun doing that, if you find that you're alive when you do that, do it, because life is so shitty. You might as well try and find some fun,
Whatever.
This is my whole point. This is the reason why I did it, right? All the negativity, all the down feeling to do the baggage that the Dark Jedi brought with it. Yeah. All the people moaning and crying, and deservedly so, and justifiably so about it, and the mood generally across the entire fandom because of it. I just thought, man, I can't just be adding to the misery here. I've got to do something positive about it. Yeah. That was the whole motivation.
Yeah, and also, right, like for instance, right, there might be 1 out of a billion where one guy did the opening. He did his version of the opening of Doctor Who, and what's his name? Moffat saw it, and he took that version, spoke to the guy, and made that opening the Peter Capaldi's opening. So it does.
Wow. Yeah, wow, that was great. Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that even though when that guy did that opening, he just did it for himself because he thought it was fun. He doesn't
for the love of it. Yeah.
It's not BBC, but it does happen. But what I'm saying is that I think the world is so messed up now that you just got to find fun where you can find it, and the more fun you can have,
it's a joyless world, mate.
The better is for your well-being, and that's why I want to do it, because I think it will be fun. Not that it'd be nice if millions watched it. Of course, it'd be nice if millions watch, but I doubt if that's going to happen. Personally, I hope for it, but I just want to do something that's going to be fun, rather than just doing this corporate stuff that I've been doing for years and years and years.
Here. Well done, Ian.
Anyway,
here.
But I'm sure Matt feels the same, and I'm sure that's the reason why you're
Ian, good for you, mate. Honestly, genuinely good for you, mate.
Anyway, I digress.
You're very good at digressing, but it's good digressing, mate. It's good. So, Cockney, are you still there?
I think he's gone.
Oh, God.
Gone again?
Yeah.
I must admit, this stream, as I said, I know nothing about writing, but I've just been genuinely just sat here as a listener. It's been pretty decent. So, yeah. Cheers, guys. Cockney, are you back yet?
No, he's gone.
Oh, God. So, Matt, going back to Last Jedi, before you went in to see the film, what were your expectations?
I tried not to have any, to be honest with you, because I thought the more expectations you have, the more pressure you put on yourself and the film to enjoy it. So I avoided all trailers, avoided all trailers, avoided all clues, everything anyone said about it, any speculation. I avoided all of it. I avoided seeing the toys on the shelves, because anything can give me a clue and spoil the experience for me. So I had the previous movie spoilt for me in certain ways by, just hearing about certain clues. And I thought, right, just avoid everything completely and I'll go in completely fresh.
What was your opinion of Force Awakens?
I enjoyed it when I watched it. I couldn't help thinking that something was missing and I couldn't quite put my finger on what. But only when I watched
story.
Oh, yeah, there is that.
It was a soft reboot.
But when I watched it on DVD, I thought, right, it's time to sit down and watch this again. Rub my hands together and thought, right, I get to watch all the deleted scenes and stuff that they'll inevitably put on the video on the disc that will fill in and maybe a few gaps here and there that weren't in the movie. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I thought, something's not right here. And then I started, and the more I learnt about the film, and the more I read the behind the scenes book and things like that. Behind the scenes book's actually amazing. It's better than the movie, but the final movie, I just thought it seems like they're not really understanding it properly here.
Right.
Certain things they are understanding, but there's the details which are important, which link together to create the foundation of the story. They're not getting. They're just taking what they think is Star Wars, putting it into a blender, pulling it out
for the best.
Pulling it out and rearranging it into something that they think is Star Wars. That's what I thought after.
But isn't really.
So, getting back to Jedi, when you're watching the Jedi, at what part did it go wrong for you watching Jedi?
There's so many points where it went wrong for me. So many. I mean, all of the major ones that everyone talks about every single time. But I still thought, even before the end of the movie, I still thought, they could still pull this back here. They could be trolling us. They could be trying to pull a bait and switch. They could be, there could be a big plot twist at the end that corrects everything and makes us go like Sixth Sense, like Sixth Sense at the end where you go, fuck, and you think of all the elements all the way through and it changes everything. I thought, give it a chance. And it was right towards the end. I was starting to lose hope. And then when Luke just died and my head just fell to the floor and I just thought, what a load of shit. And
do you know what? Right? I was in that packed cinema when I saw that, and in my head I was screaming. Loads of scenes I was screaming. One was when he threw the first time he threw his lightsaber away, I was going, what the fuck? And then when that Mary Poppins scene, I was going, what the fuck? And the biggest what the fuck was when he took on Kylo Ren and he didn't even kick his ass. And that was the big what the fuck. And when I came out of the cinema, I was the only one out of all my friends that was upset about that film. They were going, "Oh, it was all right." I'm like, "No, it wasn't. It was a complete disgrace."
You can spot the true fans. I think the casuals all just go in thinking it's just just any old sort of space movie, whereas the true fans would be completely disgusted by what they saw because of what it undoes, and they're the ones that actually understand the fundamentals of it. And when you get an amateur like Johnson and Terrio coming in and writing and completely ignoring these details and not being even aware that they exist in the first place, not really ignoring them, they're just not aware they exist, they're sort of their view of Star Wars, it's not actually what Star Wars is, then the true fan cannot help but be disgusted by it. Whereas you get the casuals and the normies just going, oh yeah, just some people waving around lasers and whatever, it was all right, wasn't it? It's just, oh god, you can just kick these people.
What was the point of the casino scene? Only to make Finn do something.
Yeah, that's right. He realised he needed he needed a B story in there, and he didn't have one, and he just sort of.
What the fuck was all that about? The kind of like the fucking horses and shit,
and the boy sweeping at the end. What was that all about? And then Rose Tico, there was no reason. If you took her out of the plot of the thing, she would have made no difference. And that stupid decision that purple-haired woman made, that made sense, didn't it?
And the fact they tried to elevate her to some kind of like
the Laura Dern maneuver,
messianic sort of savior. Yeah. Oh God, they even gave her a halo, for God's sake.
They gave the ships petrol or gas, as the Americans would say. We're running out of gas. What the hell's that all about?
They run on fuel systems like we do. Utterly ridiculous. It's like it's a galaxy far, far away. We don't even really know how their ships are propelled. All we know is that they're kind of almost on limitless energy, and they don't suffer from these drawbacks that we do. Like sort of certain social issues don't exist in their galaxy. They just don't get it. They don't get it.
That's what they did. They actually made today's problems and today's ideals, shoved it into Star Wars. That's what they did.
Same with Star Trek, isn't it? Like Mr. Brown said, it's supposed to be this utopian future, and they've just completely eradicated all that and thought, no one's interested in, or everyone saying kumbaya. We want conflict, we want misery, we want,
You know what? Right? Who? I think I'm not the only one here. When I saw Force Awakens, when I saw Force Awakens, you know that scene where Rey was fighting with Kylo Ren in the forest. I thought to myself in my head, going, Luke, please appear. Please appear.
What Mark
Luke,
Hamill
kick
thought.
his ass. And
that's what Hamill thought reading the script. Like, here I come, it's me.
Yeah.
No.
And yes, I'm
it
saying
should have been.
It should have been.
Han shouldn't have done. I think this is someone said soft reboot. I think the mistake was making a soft reboot, but with the old characters taking somehow Han dies, Luke takes the mantle of Ben Kenobi. Yeah, I think the soft reboot. I can't even say it's so disgusting. A soft reboot with the same characters doesn't work. So yeah, I mean, like Mr. Brown said, I think on a previous broadcast, they should have done it in the 90s when they were young enough to do the sequels.
Biggest
but that
missed
goes back to
in film.
Tying it back into the theme of this talk, writing, is because Lucas didn't write it up to episode 9. If he had, he could have made it in the 90s. I saw 2020 hindsight. But top tip for writers, if you're going to do 9 stories, like I'm trying to, write all 9 of them, at least the outline. Have a vague idea of where you're going.
Why didn't Lucas, after Return of the Jedi, just get just get Hamill, Fisher,
Ford, Mayhew, Baker,
just
Daniels,
get them all in a room and just kind of
just film them.
Just say, look, are you in? Shall we just do this amongst ourselves? As the fans love it. I think we're onto a good one here. Shall we just, between us all, we've done well. Let's try and move it forward.
No, that would never have happened. Harrison Ford was I heard he was a pain in the ass when it.
I know about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I met them all in Selfridges. They were doing a signing when Empire Strikes Back got released, and I was unemployed at the time. And they had this small little advert in the newspaper saying that they were going to show the models at Selfridges. So I got up 9 o'clock in the morning and went all the way to Selfridges. And when I got in the lift, Billy D. Williams was in the lift with me.
No,
and I didn't think it was him. And then when I got up to the top floor, I walked and I said, this is where the Star Wars thing is. And the lady said to me, yeah. And there was hardly anybody there. And I saw this table and everybody was sitting at the table. And I saw Billy D. Williams take his seat. And I suddenly realized they were all the cast, even Harrison Ford. And you know what happened, right?
Shut up.
Yeah, this happened. I brought the Empire Strikes Back Marvel novelization, and it was a small little book. And I went up and I got them to sign it. And this is how it went, right?
Oh, you are a mega geek.
I saw it was it Carrie Fisher, and I was so embarrassed because she was so beautiful.
God bless.
A couple of words. Then the next person I went to was Mark Hamill, and he was going, "Hey, how's it going?" He was really enthusiastic. And then I got to Billy D. Williams, and he was enthusiastic. Got to Harrison Ford, he went,
fuck you.
And he goes, "Do you want me to sign it?" And I signed it. And he goes, "Thanks." And I walked off. So that just goes.
Hey, kid, got any reefer?
Yeah, I spoke to Lawrence Kasdan as well. He was a nice guy, and I was asking him for advice about directing and stuff like that. He's a really nice guy.
How old were you at the time? You'd be about what, 13, 14?
No.
You're asking about direction. He's the writer.
No,
about the directing.
No,
Kasdan was the writer.
Ivan Kirshner is the director of Empire Strikes Back.
You said Lawrence Kasdan. Rewind.
No, I said Ivan Kirshner. Did I not say?
You said Ian. You did say Kasdan.
Oh, sorry, I meant Ivan Kirshner.
I knew what you meant, but I thought you might be testing to see if we were paying attention.
Sorry.
Amazing how Empire Strikes Back was.
I still got the book. I still got the book with all their signatures in it.
You are the mega geek.
He directed that film very well, but RoboCop 2.
Who? Harrison Ford?
No, Lawrence, not Lawrence Kasdan. Ivan Kirshner was
Irvin Berlin.
Cockney.
Cockney wanker.
Film school. He was his teacher, wasn't he? I heard. I don't know if that's true.
No, he was. Irvin Kershner taught George Lucas at a film school.
Yeah.
Caltech, whatever. Is that right? I heard that too, so it must be true.
So, how old were you at the time when all this was going on?
It was a long time ago, and as I said,
In a
it wasn't
galaxy far,
About
far away.
1980, yes.
Yeah, it was a long time. It wasn't even advertised well either that they were all going to be there, and I was there, and then as the evening, as the
14.
day went on, there was more crowds that turned up.
He was 16 when you took my
And
seat
you
at
got-
the Blade
you
Runner
got in there
cinema. and
first.
This was 2 years earlier. So
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be the models that I was looking at. I didn't think all of them were going to be there signing stuff.
Were you buzzing?
Oh man, that was probably one of the best days ever.
I reckon. I mean, that's like life's full of
Ever.
disappointments. That is like flipping that equation, and that is totally beyond your expectations. You're expecting some cool Star Wars stuff, and there's Han, Luke, Leia, and Lando. Bloody
Jeez, I don't think it gets
amazing.
much better than that.
That would blow my mind, I think.
Carrie Fisher was so gorgeous. She was so gorgeous, and I couldn't even string two words together. Let me tell you,
Carrie.
Jesus.
Marry me, Carrie.
I've just recently looked at the way she looked in Return of the Jedi with that bikini. The most amazing body. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Stop being toxic white male. I must admit, I have been looking at some kind of documentaries on YouTube recently. There are a few about that kind of Star Wars stuff and Empire, and she had it.
Have you seen?
They had the set, the set where the guy is talking is on the big Star Destroyer, and where Darth Vader strangles that guy.
Yeah.
That set where they're standing next, they had that set in Selfridges. It was freestanding. It was freestanding.
You don't get stuff like this anymore, do you?
No, they don't. But there was no such thing as internet in those days. There was no, web or Facebook or Twitter.
Homing pigeon, mate. Homing pigeon.
You've blown out my Star Wars story. I've been on one of the film sets, but I never met any of the actors. I am impressed.
I met all of them. George Lucas was there, but I never spoke
to him.
Don't
rub it in.
Just saying. It was, and also they had the original AT-AT in a big case, in a big see-through case.
Next we go. I went in a TIE fighter and then a fly around South London as well. Oh, Jill. I freely admit, jealousy is a negative one.
Dagenham Ring Road.
I'm envious. Oh, did you see the attack? The articulated lorries on?
We're in articulated lorries. Ian's in TIE fighters going around the Dagenham Ring Road. What a bastard!
I can picture it as if it happened.
My friend had the model from Spy Love Me. Remember the boats that flew out of Strongberg's fortress and then hit the water. I don't know if you remember that scene in Spy Love Me.
That really sleek motorboat.
Yeah.
The phallic one.
What they used for the characters inside the boat? Action men. He showed me literally the actual model. It had action men in there for that model shot. If you look at it in the movie, literally action men, the real action men that had the gripping hands and the beard around the face and
Did
stuff.
They have the eagle eyes?
Yeah, had the eagle eyes. Yes, the real what they were real action men
for extra realism.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And the joints, they used to have the joints, remember, and the elbows.
Yeah.
Like
they would have Harrison Ford on you.
Yeah.
Were you happier than a pig in shit that day?
You know what? I was so blown away that I just went and had a daze all the way through that day. And the only other time that equals that is when I met Stanley at Forbidden Planet, when Forbidden Planet only used 2 stores in London, and there was a huge queue, and I queued up for hours just to meet him, just to talk to him and get him to sign my book. And he was brilliant. He's such a nice guy, and I spoke to him for like 5 minutes, and everybody was moaning because he was talking to me for 5 minutes, and that was great.
You've earned your name, sir. You are the mega geek.
I was invited to Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yeah.
I was invited to the 10-minute Christmas preview screening at the BFI in London, just purely by accident. I just posted something on Facebook saying, "Really looking forward to this." And obviously, this is before I knew all this shit. Yeah, but genuine fan, and I just posted on Facebook. And then following day, got a message. Do you want to come to London to a preview this Friday?
And I thought, Rodney.
Of course I fucking do. and so I had to get the overnight coach from Leeds, like
Leeds
midnight, because the showing was at something silly like 8 a.m. or something stupid on that morning. All the JJ's production geezers were there. Benedict Cumberbatch, Alice Eve.
Oh, I love Alice Eve.
Oh God, she looks amazing that day. I was obviously on my own. Everybody was, because is it an IMAX? So it is a very big screen in the BFI, isn't it?
Yes, the British Film
IMAX,
Institute.
Yeah, well, everybody was kind of sat towards the front, so it's like all the kind of newspapers and the kind of Facebook groups and people like that were there. I was on my own, and I sat right at the back on my own. And then I noticed Benedict Cumberbatch and his entourage coming up the stairs, and he just literally sat next to me. So I'm just talking to Benedict Cumberbatch for about 20 minutes before it all
Nice guy.
Great, because obviously I'd only seen him in Sherlock, you see, because that was going on at the time, and we're just having a chat about stuff, and then they had a question and answer session at the beginning, and I was just kind of hogging the mic a bit. So yeah, it was it's just a fan's dream, isn't it? You're just buzzing. It's just so great.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, right? A similar thing happened to me as well. There's a film called Blown Away. It was, I think it came out the same time as Speed. So It was the film I was up against Speed. And it had Jeff Bridges in it. So I got invited to a press screening of Blown Away.
Broken.
Yeah, and when I sat in the cinema and the lights went down, somebody sat next to me, and it was Jeff Bridges sat next to me.
You just magnetise the dude, don't you?
He's a star magnet. This one.
I'm a lot older, so I've had loads of times in it, in that geek world. But as I said, after the film had finished, he turned to me and says, "What do you think?" I said, "It was all right," and he said, "That's exactly what I thought."
I remember that movie now. Yeah, I forgot the title of it, but yeah, I remember.
Blown Away.
Yeah,
I really liked Blown Away. I thought it was okay. I thought Speed was better though, because those two films came out kind of similar times.
No, Blown Away. Is that the one with Madonna? Oh, that's Swept Away.
It was a time when they were making films about bombs.
Yeah, I was just about to say there were a lot of bomb movies around, weren't there?
At the time, yeah. So
Did it bomb at the box office?
I was just going to say metaphor. I was just going to say you raised Sherlock, and I was just going to say how amazing that show was. Genuinely incredible. Yeah. And I turned my nose up at it for like years before, thinking, "Oh no, you can't."
Same here, mate. Same here.
Can't have Sherlock in a modern day. Oh, what a load of rubbish. And I actually sat down and watched the pilot, and I thought, "Oh my god!" And these are the guys that wrote Doctor Who, right?
The thing is, they never had any conclusions. They set up some big thing, and they never had a great conclusion. Like I think season 2 where he fell off the building, and I
remember that. Yeah.
And what was the answer they gave to that? How he survived? No answer at all.
No, I think they gave multiple, didn't they? And then they never specified.
No answer. That means no answer.
Like, multiple equals none. Right? You're right. One answer is one answer. 7 answers is as good as no answer. Quite right. Yeah.
And that's what Moffat suffers from when he writes. He writes a great concept, but doesn't know how to end it.
Mystery box, mate.
Yeah.
Mystery box.
See, too much gardening, not enough architecture. There's a blue line here.
You're probably right.
I did think, though, I mean, because it's a lot more adult-orientated Sherlock, and the writing was so sharp in it, but I just thought, man, if they just made Who like this instead of making it too child-friendly, back in the 70s, it always seemed like it was aimed at adults, and as a little kid, I thought, wow, I'm watching an adult show here. I love this far more than things that are aimed at my age. And it's always been that way. Star Wars always felt like it was aimed at older audiences. This is why I loved Alien and Aliens so much, because they were adult movies. Same with Blade Runner. And then when I got things that were aimed at my age, I just felt like I was being patronized and spoken down to. And I've always looked towards adult material. Not because it's like, oh, look at me, I'm being naughty. It's because this is just far more sophisticated, and it's making me think and expanding my mind, and I'm far more engaged. And I think
adult in a mature way.
Yeah, that's the way that Star Wars should have gone. Is the fact they Lucas and Disney should have realised that the audience had aged out, and they were looking for more stories, and they should have written them accordingly. I think Lucas was looking at something like that for his microbiotic world element to his original sequel draft. Much more of a mature, sort of a thoughtful story, which is great on his part. Whether it would have translated to being actual Star Wars as we know it on screen, that's another matter entirely. But I think that these businesses need to realize their fan base and realize who they're making stuff for, and know that the people that are actually spending money on it.
I like that idea.
Yeah, they need to make things a bit more mature. Like the original Star Wars trilogy was kind of. It was very, even though all ages could enjoy it, it was very much aimed at sort of young boys. The prequel trilogy, for some weird reason, Lucas decided to go super young for his audience, but then Revenge of the Sith was much more mature.
It was all over the place tonally, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
Like
but
that.
the sequel trilogy, they really should have. Sorry, yeah, the sequel trilogy
should not have been made.
It should not have been made under the people that made it, but the reason that Timothy Zahn did an amazing thing by writing his novels, the Thrawn trilogy. It was aimed at an older audience. It was aimed at a far more mature, more thinking audience, and that's what was so successful and made so much money because fans just lapped it up because they thought, yes, this is for me. This is for the person that grew up loving the space, the lasers and spaceships and lightsabers and Jedi, but it's going far deeper into it and opening up the universe and making all these other elements known to me that I never even thought about before. And it's speaking to me as a mature adult, with sort of intrigue and spelunking and spy elements to it. Absolutely phenomenal. And this is what's cracking up. Yeah.
I think the problem is that the people that are in charge, they're not in touch with reality of what people think. Like people that make kids shows, they still think that kids are like the kids in the 70s. They're not. If you look at kids now, they know far more than we ever did when we were their age. Do you know what I mean? And that's what you've got to tune into if you're going to make a kids show. And Doctor Who is not a kids show. It is not a kids show, and they have to get it into their heads that it's not a kids show. You shouldn't be treating Doctor Who, because the only people who are watching Doctor Who's people like us. People of this age. I don't know any kid. I don't know any of my sister's kids. I don't know any of my other brother's kids that watch Doctor Who, that know Doctor Who.
The new stuff, to be fair.
Yeah.
But when, as I said, when they're the 50th and I went to the cinema to watch the 50th, it was full of kids, young adults.
But the majority of people that were in that cinema, they were either teenagers or 20s or 30s.
Well, but there was a good cross selection of people watching it, is my point.
See, but look, the thing is though, they may be
look here, Brown.
There for the 50th.
Sorry, Mega Geek. Sorry.
But then but the core of the people that watch the show are people of our age, 30s and 40s, and that's what you should be pandering to. You shouldn't be pandering to kids, because as I said, kids have a lot more to do now. They're on their phones. They're watching YouTube. No one's really talking
cancelling
about
people. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I'll tell you what, it's my mates from school, those of us that are parents, we've noticed that our teenage kids, they've all got 3 devices basically. That's the weird, because we're used to having 1 or 2. They got the main one, they're doing something on the computer, then they're chatting to mates on the phone, then they've got some music going on the iPad. 3 devices.
And you're not even mentioning the video games.
Yeah,
and the video games.
And see, if you're creating something now and you're creating it for a new audience, you have to consider that. That has to be one of those things you consider.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Disney Star Wars, when it comes to Mandalorian, I think that's the right thing to do, to make it 30 minutes, because the audience that they're trying to capture, their attention span is really short.
10 seconds. 10 seconds.
Yeah.
That must be it generational, because I think it is for kids. I don't call me a bluffer old traditionalist. When I was growing up, it was a really simple formula: sitcoms, half an hour; dramas, an hour; Minder, parts 1, 2, and 3. Bush, done.
Yeah, you're right.
The thing is, I've been guilty myself watching Mandalorian or WandaVision, and you're watching it, and then 2 minutes in, pick up the smartphone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if you're going to watch something, leave the smartphone in another room.
Partly because Mandalorian and WandaVision aren't really, you don't do that with the expense, do you?
Yeah, I always put my phone in my bedroom now when I'm serious and I want to watch something. I never have the phone on me.
Black Hawk Down.
But I'm just saying that the only place you can see something
down. We've got an iPhone down. We've got an iPhone down.
That's the only time. You can't have your phones on in the cinema. Only time when you concentrate on something. 100%.
I know. That's why I like the cinema so much.
That's why I don't like it.
I just genuinely hope the cinemas reopen.
Yeah, I hope so too.
It's I totally agree with the phones being a distraction. I mean, I hate it, and I hate people looking at their phones, and especially during dinner, etc. But when you got like a movie or TV show, I'm doing it myself. I'm picking up my phone, going, "Oh, that reminds me, I've got to look something up."
Dopamine.
Well, yeah, I'll be googling something while I'm watching it, and then I'll be saying, "Well, where have I seen that actress before?" And I'll be googling her, and then I'll be going, "Oh, hang on a minute, this reminds me of some storyline in a Marvel comic years ago. I better Google." I'm doing that as I'm watching it, and it's kind of like doing this too, because I know I'm going to forget with all these questions by the time the show's over, and I kind of do it there and then, But you're absolutely right, Mega Geek. Just switch the phone off and do that later. You've got, it's the only way to truly enjoy something, because these people put so much work into what we're consuming.
We've ruined ourselves.
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it, for young kids to actually sit down and watch something properly? Because their minds are so like my sister had a kid, right? Obviously the child is a lot more older now, but when he was I think he was 4, he went up to the TV screen and tried to flick it and tried to move the picture across.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? And that's how now, because he was only 4. Because my sister used to give him the phone, and he used to watch the, like kids stuff on the phone. He instinctively knew to
mobile babysitter.
Yeah, he went up to the TV and tried to move the screen, and that's what we're dealing with now. That kids are going to grow up that way.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, right, it was TV, and I literally had to get up and switch to BBC One or BBC Two, or
the remote control was the beginning of the end for Western.
Our first VHS, the remote control was wired.
Yeah.
Oh,
I remember that
remote.
And we used to have the TriStar, the Ferguson TriStar, with the clack.
We had, I think we had an Attache. We got it from Curry's. We got it on rent. We got it on rental. Got it home. Got it home. Set it all up. Didn't work. It was broken.
Oh no,
didn't work. So we had to get another one on Monday. Didn't work.
But that's what I'm saying. I think it's saturated now. The whole of entertainment is saturated, and there's too much stuff. There's too much stuff. You can't concentrate it because
kids are very unfocused, and I suppose technically we're all unfocused now because there's just so many distractions.
Yeah.
And I used to love going to the pub and talking about certain things that we watched on TV.
Yeah.
Now you go up to your friend and go, "Oh, do you remember that episode?" I go, "Oh, wait a moment, no spoilers. I haven't seen it." I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, what are we going to talk about then if you haven't seen it? What's the point of being a geek if you haven't seen it? In the old days, there was a point where it was on and you had to watch it then. Otherwise, you're not going to see it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what or if they did repeat it, you'll never know when they're going to repeat it,
Exactly.
Have you seen the New Year's edition of Doctor Who yet, Ian?
No. Only if I have to, I'll watch it. If Dan says I have to, then I'll watch it just to go on the stream. But I will not watch it because it's rubbish. Let's face it.
Call yourself a geek.
Unfortunately, I saw another clip by accident where Barryman was in the next jail, and he goes up to her and he says, "Oh, Doctor, I've missed you," and it didn't feel right because they hugged each other, right? Because I saw this on YouTube. They hugged each other. And it just felt wrong.
Is he
and then they went
for the work
bubble or something like that, and they started going through the bubble, and I thought, no, this is just rubbish.
Is he desperate for the work?
I don't know. I haven't seen the episode, but it just, if the Doctor was in jail, the Doctor would find some way to get out, wouldn't he? He'd find if the real Doctor, obviously, but it's just, I don't know.
Bollocks.
Well, I'll tell you what this distraction.
Ironically, which she hasn't got.
Well, she's got top ones. I'm doing the opposite. We're talking on the phone.
Thank you, Matthew.
But in the meanwhile, I'm getting distracted by leafing through my own book. So I'm kind of doing the opposite. flip the script. Oh, this is pretty good, actually. I'll tell you what the problem is, though. I made it into a comic, so I've got all the pictures as well. See, no description, just pictures.
All the films that we love, right, are either from the 80s, the 90s, or like 3 or 4 years ago. It's amazing how things have changed. Everything's so different now. It's the same, but it's different if you look closely.
Look,
I watched a YouTube today of a guy in his early 20s for the first time watching RoboCop.
Mm.
And I don't know if he had what is it, ADHD? Or something. Just looking at his face, watching all the scenes, I don't think he was processing what was going on.
He'd seen it before. It's bollocks. There's no way.
Well, I don't know, but there's
no way.
There seems to be a YouTube thing at the moment doing my first viewing.
It's rubbish. It's rubbish. He's lying. Like there's one where people had said they'd never heard Bohemian Rhapsody before, and it was the first time they were hearing it. Absolute bollocks. Do you know how many radio stations there are? Do you know how many how many computers around? There's no way that someone could not have heard that song. Absolutely no way. They're just doing it to get more views. It's bollocks.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, he looked like he had behavioural problems, to be fair.
Really?
But he was watching the film, and I just, irrespective of if you've seen it before or not, it was like he just wasn't quite processing the brutality of it all. And I think maybe everything's been kind of really, really toned down to how we had it in the 80s. Because to be fair, Predator, RoboCop, Total Recall, violent. I can't really remember seeing any films of that, violence recently.
Total Recall violence.
Maybe Hollywood at the end, Quentin Tarantino's, but I've not seen much mega violence. Have you, Ian, recently?
No,
Sorry,
I haven't.
Cockney.
Go on, Cockney.
Go on, Cockney.
I rewatched Total Recall for plot reasons, but
I need to watch
you
that.
mentioned violence. I found the violence in Total Recall to be a strange mix of excessive and boring. It seemed like a badly shot and very bloody episode of the A-Team. It was the worst of both worlds. Yeah, it was too excessive and yet very tedious. It should be the opposite, subtle and exciting.
Yeah, true.
I'll tell you what, right? The last time I saw a film with some really good violence and really well shot was John Wick. The third John Wick was just you just had too much action in it. You just kind of zoned out halfway through that film.
Fully agreed.
Yeah,
it's got to be
for an action.
I liked number 3. I thought it was great.
I didn't like 3 at all.
It's interesting because they're all three of them are all action, not much story. Almost wears it as a badge, but in a weird way. And I'd have to watch them again to articulate why.
John Wick.
I just thought the first two were better. The third one just didn't quite add up story wise. A bit too much.
They killed his dog. They killed his dog.
Didn't like that. Yep,
that's how
refrigerated it.
Yeah, that's always off to a bad start with me if an animal gets killed straight away. Like
they killed his dog. I'd be pissed, to be fair.
It was a good idea, the first one, because the stunt guys directed that film. It was
a guy from The Matrix, Chad. I forget his second name.
Anyway, it was a good idea because they created a new action thing, which was gun fu. So it was mostly gun fu that they did in the first one, and in the second one. But the third one, they just went so over the top that you just kind of zoned out because there was just too much going on.
The gun fu was good, as you say, but since it's a story theme, I think it was resting on a coincidence. He just he pulled up for petrol in the wrong place at the wrong time, and that led to it. Just seemed a bit too random. I don't know, it just stuck out with me.
Nice car though.
Well, yeah, it was. And I thought, hang on a minute, that's healthy out of Game of Thrones. But no, it didn't. That's the problem with being a writer. You end up analysing all the stories and just as you go along. In fact, Tarantino himself has been quoted as saying he tries to switch off the first time he watches a film so he can enjoy it, as a customer. And then the second and third time he'll go into it and analyse it. But I can't help myself. I'm analysing straight away.
I have an idea for Star Trek Tarantino film, by the way.
Don't do it.
It just cures everything. It just sorts everything out. You get the new cast in, and
they all get blown up. Hooray!
And I've posted this many times. You get Tarantino to direct because he wants to do a Trek film, doesn't he?
Well, so they say.
That's what he says, right?
Rumors.
He wants it to be R-rated, which, okay, I can go with that. Yeah, I'd probably like to see an R-rated Trek movie. Might be good. You get the original, you get the cast, the new cast in, the Chris Pine and all that stuff. Effectively, what the plot is, the ship goes into the mirror universe. Right?
Not the Wayne universe.
Not the Wayne, but the Pine universe.
Ah,
Right?
the Kelvin mirror,
the Hemsworth universe.
Right, it's the Kelvin mirror universe, not the standard mirror universe, is it?
Where the mirror universe, the Emperor is Kirk's dad, played by Chris Hemsworth.
Okay. Okay.
Kirk
okay,
has to kill his dad to get his crew back into his universe. But what happens is it goes back into the Prime. Is it the Prime?
That's where I lost you. I've lost you with.
Basically, the non JJ, the normal kind of.
According to Doomcock, Prime Spock isn't original Spock. So even so, either the Prime Universe or the Prime Spock. It's very confusing.
The universe up until the
original one,
Kirk up until first. Nero popped up. Yeah, that
Shatnerverse.
When Shatnerverse.
Shatnerverse, the original.
Pine has to kill his dad to get the crew back into the Kirk universe. So you correct everything that people hate, and it's all back to normal.
But why does it have to get his dad though? There's the details.
Because it's an R-rated. Because it's an R-rated Tarantino verse.
Yeah, but the problem is
people want the violence.
Yeah, what you've done is you've given us a Chibnall there. So suddenly the
not intentionally.
Gallifrey's been destroyed, but how was Gallifrey destroyed? You're saying that he has to kill his dad, but why?
To get that's the detail. Well, we need to flesh that bit out.
But remember what they did. Let's see.
Sorry, Ian, it was only an idea. I'm not a writer. I'm just a Star Trek fan who just wants to correct everything. Cockney, I'm speaking. I just want everything to be back to normal.
I was only joking. Yeah.
me and you could fall out. Cockney, go.
If I was going to do an adult Star Trek, R-rated,
I think it'd make a lot of money. By the way, go on.
It would, because again, fans have aged out. But I'd pitch it. I'd pit them against. I wouldn't necessarily make it the crew of the Enterprise, because obviously there's difficulties involved. I could easily make it the crew of another ship, and just have them face down something like the Alien, the Xenomorph. Have some kind of enemy like that. Make it seriously, bloodthirsty, horrific, and they're trying to overcome this amazingly deadly adversary with their technology. I've always wanted to see how they would deal with a situation like an extreme situation like that in the Star Trek universe. But it's always been very sanitized to me.
I like that idea, but I'd go one further. I'd call it Star Trek Epic, where I'd have every captain in that film, and I would go as far as to do deep fake on. Oh yeah. So we bring Shatner back. And it'll be so expensive, obviously. We'll bring Shatner back, and we'll try and get someone to imitate Nimoy and do deep fake on all of them. So
get his son to do it.
Anyone. We'll have the original Star Trek. We'd have Picard. We'd have Benjamin Sisko. We'd have, do you know what I mean? Fighting against one common enemy.
Yeah.
Right. And I'll have Chris
Hemsworth.
We'll have 3 or 4 films. We'll shoot it all together. We'll have 4 films connected. So we'll have all 4 films, so all of them end in a cliffhanger, and the last film resolved, and all of them be in it. Because they're all worth watching again. All of them, well, apart from Janeway, of course. But I didn't really like Janeway.
Whoa! Me and you gonna fall out, dude.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have Mikey Spock. I wouldn't have any of those.
Nah, just ignore it. Just ignore it. You don't have to have an explanation as to why you're not doing it. Just ignore it.
Yeah, just ignore it. So that's what I would do. I'd call it Star Trek Epic, and Epic 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and it'll end in 4. And it'll be like I guess it'll be like a Marvel ending where it's that it all
comes together.
A big climax.
Yeah, big climax in the 4th one. So that's what I would do. Start off with the first one. Start off with William Shatner's Star Trek universe, and they come up against this villain. Then have the second one with what's his name, Picard, and then Benjamin Sisko, and then maybe even, I don't know, but then it ends up in the big climax on the 4th one where they all come together.
Yeah, Star Trek porno for the fourth one. They have a big climax and come together.
Star Trek gangbang.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, if you're talking about action films,
Dirty boy.
The action film that I really loved and it had a really terrible script, but it didn't matter, was Taken.
Bad Day.
Taken. Ever seen Taken? When I read the synopsis of Taken, I thought,
the first one, yeah.
And then I went to the cinema and I loved it. The first one, I thought it was really fun.
That's Liam Neeson, isn't it?
Have you seen Taken? Anyone? Taken?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. I've seen the first one and the second one. I've not seen the third one.
Nah, it's not worth watching the rest of them. The first one was really good, in my opinion. A lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was all right as well. Yeah.
You're right about the whole lack of attention in audiences and kids now, though. Because when I was 10 years old, I wanted to see 2010, obviously 2 in the cinema.
Great film.
Oh yeah, I mean, I adored the original. Even the original one, I didn't even really understand, but I just loved it as a 9-year-old or however it was when I went to see it. And then Odyssey 2 came out at the cinema, and I thought, just from the trailer alone, I thought, my God, this looks amazing. This is a Star Wars fan who's really into action and explosions and stuff. I didn't care. It was sci-fi. It looked incredible. Went to the cinema to see it. My dad even bought the little complimentary magazine thing that they used to do at one point. We sat down and it was like the magic of being in this big dark place with rumbling going on in different theaters that you don't know quite where it's coming from. The smell of popcorn coming from somewhere, strangers milling about. It's all very sort of dark and subdued, and you go and sit in this big dark cinema and you're sitting waiting for it. And the atmosphere and excitement of something like that back then was just incredible. And it's always been the reason why I've loved going to the cinema. And I was just sitting there waiting for this film to come on. And when I did, I was glued to it from beginning to end, and my attention never deviated. I loved it. I never had a problem understanding it. Yeah. I was addicted. I was glued. I loved everything. The conclusion of the film was perfect. It was thought-provoking. There was action in it, but not like confliction action. It was the sort of the circumstances of survival, and the whole the existential part of it. And I was a 10-year-old. Blew me away. Utterly blew me away.
Great film.
My favorite scene in 2010 was my favorite scene is when he's talking to the computer, Roy Schneider, and he's trying to figure out who's speaking to him, and suddenly he says, "Look behind you." And then when he looks behind him, it's the Star Child behind him. Yeah. And I was that really freaked me out. And then suddenly it was gone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's my favorite scene in the entire movie.
That was great. That was absolutely
great. And I saw that in the Empire, and it was a huge screen. Wow. And when the ship came on and you saw the stars, you literally felt like you were in
Leonov.
Space.
Yeah, you did. You really felt you were there, didn't you? You really, really did.
It even holds up today.
That moment when they're trying to board the Discovery, and it's spinning in space, because it's lost all attitude control. Just a genius. I love that whole sequence. When they get up, and then they get on board the ship, and they lift their faceplates. And
they've left. I'm just waiting for my turn.
Great casting. They cast Bob Balaban to play the guy that created the computer, and his temperament and his tone. You can see why he created HAL.
Yeah, you can. I mean? Yeah,
absolutely. It's great casting. Absolutely great casting, as far as I was concerned.
You really believed all those characters in that
movie. Spock wants to speak because he's making.
Come on, Cockney.
Cockney, you in the shower?
No, he's making coffee.
No, try not to picture it. Anyway, getting back to my point, my interruption got interrupted. Now got way off topic.
You have the floor.
Anyway, how Inception.
I was just trying to show that I was listening to Mega Geek on a previous broadcast because he was saying that the solution to Doctor Who is to fuck it off into another universe, and so that's what you want to do in Star Trek. You don't want to mash up the universe together. The one favour that Kurtzman has done is by fucking it off into a separate universe, and so it's already Kelvin 25% different bollocks. It's not Star Trek. It doesn't matter. If only they'd already done that with Star Wars.
Yeah.
It being all these three franchises being science fiction, it's uniquely easy in science fiction, well, depending on which branch of science fiction, to basically fuck it off into another universe and forget all about it.
Just a little bit of imagination, you can do it.
But you don't have to. You can just ignore it. You can just, by ignoring it, you could say that didn't exist. That's the best thing to do, really. Instead of trying to figure out how to fit it into, you don't want to fit it into the universe that we love and cherish.
Exactly.
You fuck it off and go, right, that didn't happen. And you don't have to say that either. Just by making a film without mentioning it, says, will speak.
Just deny it. Yeah.
That's what they should do with Star Wars. Not retcon it, not explain it. Just never. I never want to see Ray Dolar, female people.
Just don't mention it ever again.
Don't mention them.
This is what I thought Neil Blomkamp was going to do with the Alien trilogy, with the Alien series. I was really excited about what he was doing, and his concept artwork was mind blowing. He was going to basically make a third movie to take place after the second one, and completely ignore everything that came afterwards. But he wasn't. I think he said, "We're not going to overwrite it. We're going to acknowledge it, but we're not going." And I was thinking, how's he going to do this? And I thought, oh, well, they could do it quite easily. We've had them in hypersleep. We could have them, and in Prometheus, we've had them having hypersleep dreams. We could have them having a hypersleep dream and having those circumstances monitored, and those films kind of taking place in their dreams on a monitor. And then when they come out, they're like, where am I? I've just had this incredible. Oh, don't worry about it. It's a side effect of the hypersleep, that kind of thing. Oh, by the way, 20 years has gone by. You're now in this place, etc. And those events never happened. We're going to get on with this other. That we're not going to mention it again. We're going to get on with this other story. They could have easily done it. It's sci-fi. You can do it.
You don't have to explain it. So you just ignore it. I mean, I guess the last Terminator film did 150. That. They ignored Genesis, didn't they?
They did, exactly.
Bad, though. Their version was still bad. So.
Poor old Matt Smith got ignored again.
Well, he's doing well. He's been in The Crown, and he's doing very well. So he's going to be in the Lord of the Rings TV show or something like that. I was reading.
Oh dear.
I love Matt Smith. Matt Smith's a really good actor.
Oh dear for Lord of the Rings. I've not even seen it, but apparently Gary's done a video and he said it's crap.
Yeah, he's doing his not already.
Yeah. Well,
it's rubbish. It's rubbish.
I'm just not going to get invested from the start. I think that was the problem with these certain things is you get invested and then you spend the rest of however long the series lasts for sort of bitching about it and criticizing it and getting worked up about it. And I've just completely avoided Star Trek Discovery after season 1. When it really went bad after season 1, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just done there. I'm leaving it there, and the rest of it just never happened to me. And it's going to be the same with Lord of the Rings. It's going to be the same with this bloody High Republic publishing initiative that Disney are doing with Star Wars. It's just I'm just not going to pay any attention to it. My life will be so much better without having it in it. I think.
Matthew, I sent you a link over Twitter for a YouTube video. Your artwork was in somebody's video.
Really? Oh,
yeah.
Which artwork are we talking about?
The picture of the characters you showed us yesterday.
Oh, the gonad collage.
Yes.
Gonad collage.
Yes.
I was going to call it 17 ladies, but yeah, go with that one.
Yes.
I think Ethan Van Sciver featured it in one of his videos, but a few days back.
As soon as I saw it, I thought, whoa.
Sometimes you could watch a TV show and you can delve too deeply into it and it could spoil your enjoyment. Like, for instance, I know Gary and the Friday Night Tights, they hated Boys season 2.
Yeah, the Bully Crew.
You know what, right? Yes, they're right about it, like the ending when all the girls beat up the main villain of the piece. Yeah, they're right about it. Definitely right about it. But you know what, right? I still enjoyed it. It was still fun to me, and I do acknowledge the fact that
I'm with you, Ian, on that. I enjoyed it.
The feminine agenda card towards the ending, but I still enjoyed it. And yes, some of the characters were weak because of what's happening now, but I still enjoyed it. But I get the feeling that they're going to get worse if they do a third one, and that's where I, check out. If you know what I mean.
Well, they need to decide: do they go back to how it was in the first series, or just go to all this? They could have lost 2 episodes of just time with the characters just sat on a park bench talking about shite.
Yeah. But as I said, sometimes you can dive too deeply into these things. Like, for instance, if you dive too deeply into, say, the film Taken, for instance, it'll just fall apart.
Yeah.
But it's so well constructed and so done really, really well that you just ignore it all and you just went on the ride, didn't you? There are loads of films like that you just go on the ride and enjoy it,
How are you getting on with Banshee?
I actually saw the first episode and I haven't watched any since because I've been so busy with work.
Right.
I've got a lot of editing in front of me. Actually, I should be editing now, to tell you the truth, but I have to have a rest.
Well, we're going to finish in 7 minutes. Have you ordered Black Hawk Down yet?
No, as I said,
Ah.
I was shooting on Thursday and Friday.
What were you shooting? Out of interest?
It's just corporate videos, just corporate videos. Just to bring the money in.
Good lad. At least somebody is.
So I can do creative stuff. So if I bring the money in, I can use that money to pay my rent and do some creative stuff.
I think you're the only one on this stream who's employed.
Really?
Yeah.
Matt, you're not employed?
No, well, I just did some temporary work recently, but apart from that, no.
No, I'm desperate for some work or money coming in. I've had nothing since August.
Well, you can always get the injection and get paid 500 quid. It's what the government's saying now, isn't it? To encourage you to get
on. Apparently, so on a serious note, just to pop in, Leon, was it Leon Belfield or whatever his name is, the guy who killed Millie Dowler, 52, so he's similar age to us. He's been offered the injection, as in the vaccination. He's been offered it. Whereas I'm 52. Ian, you're a little bit older than me. Cockney, a little bit younger. Matt, a little bit younger. Stuck at home, unemployed. We've not been offered it.
Well, you know what?
Fucking crazy world.
The thing is, though, as I said, you're not suffering from it, and I think they've exaggerated
financially.
But financially, yes, it's horrible what's happening to you guys, and it's just, I don't know, mate. I tell you, I hope this thing ends soon.
I can't see.
Got 3 minutes to tie it back to writing.
You know what, Cockney? We've kind of kept you quiet, so we're going to let you finish off. DemonScythe, thank you very much.
You're welcome, mate.
Mega Geek is muted. Thank you, sir. He'll say thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thanks.
We need to do that part 2 of your stream at some point. Yes.
Yeah, when you're ready, I'm around.
All right. Okay. Can we try and make that happen this week then?
Sure, I'm around.
Right, all week, yeah.
Yeah, I'm around. I'm editing all week, but I can always take a break.
Okay. You're more than welcome to come on the Nooner if you want as well. Anytime you want to pop in, mate, for an hour, you're more than welcome. Cockney, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, first of all, I would suggest that we 4 should meet again to talk more writing. But all right, here's one to wrap it up. Top tip for anyone suffering from writer's block. And I've tested this out on someone that had writer's block. He did not like my advice. I thought, well, it's good. You need to hear it. So for anyone suffering from writer's block, you ready? Drum roll, please. Cockney Spock. Guaranteed solution to writer's block. Stop writing.
Don't write.
Don't write. No one's asking.
Yeah, I said don't write.
Don't bother. No one's. Why are you writing anyway? Unless it's a sequel. No one's expecting anything. Not feeling it. Don't bother. Be
Fucking
like George R. Martin.
I agree. If you try to force it, you just come out with crap.
There you go. See, it should be, and that goes back to the flowing thing. It should be there, and then that ties into one of the detective book noir writers, Harlan Ellison. No, not Harlan Ellison in science fiction. Anyway, a writer. His advice was, if you run out of ideas, just have a guy with a gun walk into the room. And I thought about that for a few years. I thought, no, if you run out of ideas, go back to your plot structure and work out what's going to happen next. There you go. That's it. No punchline, straight advice. Boom, done. Right.
And you've got 2.5 minutes.
Good
right,
advice.
What else? I always have a good cut splosh with you. Tea Earl Grey hot.
Mute the microphone as you're making it. That's another tip.
Yeah, switch your phone off, or in my case, just live in an area with shite.
Try and do a stream with some viewers. I think
I'm just waiting for him to have a fry up in the background one day.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, that's not a bad idea. All right, I'll do that next. I'll get some food on. I think I'd cheese.
Cooking with Cockney Spock.
Cockneying. I've actually got a sandwich toaster, which I've not popped out the box yet, so that could be a bit of fun. Get creative with the sandwich.
Everybody give advice as to what to do when you're a writer. Is this that?
Yeah, let's do a wrap up. I've done one. Come on,
Okay, you got 2 minutes, boys. You got 2 minutes.
Go on, in, Matt.
Writing advice.
I've got writing advice wrap up. As I said, don't try to force it because it'll just come out and it'll be painful. And also, like Cockney said, go back to your original idea and try to reimagine the excitement that you felt when you first felt spurred to start writing, and just transplant that into the situation you're in at the moment. Maybe put some music on to evoke a bit of a mood. Like I always put on the John Williams music, and it just gets me going every time.
John Williams on.
Yeah,
that's
my 2 cents. Yeah,
Johnny Williams, Mega Geek advice.
For me, right, I think if you have a really good concept, it starts off the concept first. If the concept is good, then I reckon you should just, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I just force myself to write. Keep writing until you get to the end.
Keep doing it.
Yeah, just keep writing. It doesn't matter what shit you're writing, as long as you've got a beginning, middle, and end, and then you can always go back and fix it all.
Yeah, true.
Amen. Gold clap on there.
So, Cockney, to finish off then, 30 seconds, over to you.
Okay, everything they said. Inspiration, structure, gardening, architecture, all of that. Well, okay, I'm going to end with a big one. Gone with the Wind, apparently she wrote the last chapter first and worked backwards. So do that, basically.
Tenet style.
Even if you're a gardener, have an idea where the story's going. I think not knowing the ending is a classic schoolboy blunder for writers or schoolgirl. So know the ending, even if you're a gardener. On the that 2.
Okay, right. Okay.
Right, exactly.
That's 2 hours. Can you believe it? That's just flown by. Right, guys. Thank you for popping in.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself, by the way. I had the right up at the top. Now I'm buzzing.
It's all about Cockney. This channel is all about Cockney. Matthew, thanks for popping in, mate.
You're welcome, man. I look forward to the next one.
Ian, cheers as always. Brilliant as always, mate. Cockney, we'll see you soon. Everybody at home or on catch up, thank you for. Yes.
Hi, Doomcock.
Work, Doomcock. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.